Hello, everybody. It's Yo Taylor back here at the Style Table on My Style Mondays. I'm here with the lovely Sherry and Shara. She is a medical intuitive business coach, best-selling international author. She is a podcaster. She is a public speaker. She does everything. And she is an ultimate fashionista because she even had owned her own boutique prior to taking on these endeavors. She does everything and she's going to share with us what she's doing right now. Sherry, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. And I love your name. Yo, that's fabulous.
So we want to know, what is a medical intuitive and an intuitive business coach?
Okay. Well, intuition is just our natural innate ability to discern what is correct for you and what isn't. It's that simple. So we think it's woo woo or booga booga or whatever. So utilizing those skills, I have used them in business. I have used them in my personal life, which is one and the same. And so an intuitive business coach is when I'm working with my clients across the board. I have clients that are millionaires and billionaires. I have clients that are just starting out and teaching them and showing them how to trust their gut, their intuition, that they are making clear, conscious choices instead of emotional decisions that goof them up.
Wow, we all need that. We all need that because so many times you second guess yourself or you're asking opinions of other people. And I was always told that, your first instinct is usually the correct one.
Yes, and you hit the magic word, correct. Because when we say it's right for us or wrong for us, that really doesn't make any sense. But is it correct? So I teach wordology is your biology. Whether I'm working with teenagers or kids or business people, is the utilization of our language makes a difference. So if we have something in this left computer brain that says I can't do it, and we'll say, well, I'm going to do it, we stop ourselves unconsciously. And that's where I work as a medical intuitive and even intuitive business coach, find out what's going on unconsciously, hidden behind that. Who's that guy behind the curtain? Remember on the Wizard of Oz? And
Right.
that's that guy or gal that's behind the curtain in that left computer brain that says, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. But
Hmm.
the truth is, your intuition says, hey, just go ahead and do it because the doing comes from being who you are.
And sometimes I know just for myself, I was a little more apprehensive, ironically, when I was younger. But now that I'm older, I'm just starting to say yes to a lot of things that I didn't think that I would, like you said, that little person in the background saying, "Oh, you can't do that. That's so scary." And now I just said, you know what? I'm saying yes, and I'm going to go for it because in my mind, I say, I can do this. I
Yeah,
can do this thing or that thing that I've always wanted to do. And I deep down know that I could do it, but I was listening to the voice, the scary voice saying, "Oh no, no, don't test those waters." But you help people like break through that that, you know, that itty bitty poopy committee speaking nonsense into your head.
exactly. And I always tell them that voice in your head is really your voice repeating somebody else that says you can't do it. When they tell
Mm.
you they can't do it, they can't. But that doesn't mean you have to buy what they're telling you. Don't buy it. Move on.
Ooh, that is so true because sometimes when you think you can't do something and you're trying to do something, you might even hand over your power to allow other people to do it for you, and it doesn't come out the way you want it to because you allowed other people because you felt like you couldn't, so you went to someone else to do it for
Exactly.
you. Yeah.
And humor is the best medicine. And so, and I use humor a lot, and I call it rattling people's molecules. And so, when we allow ourselves to give up our power, we're not living our life. We're existing in somebody else's belief system. So this is part of the humor.
Ooh.
So we all have belief systems. They're not right or wrong or good or bad. But
Mhm.
what's the first letter of the word belief?
B
And the first letter of the word system.
S.
So years ago,
I love it. I love it.
it, and because years and years and years ago, I had a clothing store, but she was wonderful in the corporate world, but she wasn't getting any attention. Brilliant. I mean, brilliant. And I said, well, for number one, please get out of your college sorority. It's time to let go of those clothes of your college. You will get this. And
Yeah.
she was from California. So she came here and visited. We became best friends, like sister from another mother. But I took her to this store and I picked out some clothes, and she said, I would never wear that. And I said, that's the issue. So I said, you are not leaving this store. You will appreciate this until you go put that on. And she said, I just can't. I said, yes, you can, because you're not leaving the store. So she came out and all smiles and she said, wow, I feel different. And that year she got 3 promotions.
See, it's a powerful, this power style is a powerful tool as well. It's amazing how people, when they see themselves differently, when you put
Yes.
on clothes that you thought, oh, I could never wear that. Oh, I would never do that. And then you do it and you go, oh, you start to see yourself differently. And then that translates into that confidence and that power. And man, if you're a happy person and you already have that cloak of happiness on and you're wearing those clothes, man, that's the 1-2 KO. I love it. I can see why she got those promotions.
She did because she began to believe in herself. And
Yeah.
that's the issue when you believe in yourself. If you say you can't do something, then you can't. It doesn't matter what it is. Because
Mm-hmm.
when people say, oh, Sherry, what's my purpose? I go, which one? Which purpose? To get up in the morning or to go to bed at night or to have a dinner or go out with friends or create something. And so I always tell everybody, you cannot not create. It is totally impossible. Here's where the humor comes in. So you create everything. You create events or situations, but we're doing it consciously now, not
Mm-hmm.
unconsciously. And that brain that isn't working because we're missing the creative brain, the right brain. So you create everything, a situation. Now, here's the funny part. So I will say everything. It doesn't matter. A situation. You even create a fart, and they'll go, "What? What?" I go, and they'll go, "What?" I said, "Yes. You pick this up and you say, if I eat this, it's going to give me gas." I go, "There you go. You just created it." So when you are aware consciously of how you're creating, then life opens up. That you are now
Yes.
in charge. The photon, the spark inside is a medical intuitive that I see. Then you are in charge of what you're doing and you have the power. Otherwise, you give your power away and you're being controlled. The con of the troll that's in your head that says you can't do it.
Exactly. Oh, this is so good. This is so good. I'm definitely reaping the rewards of this show today. That is so good. That
Isn't
is
it
good
fun?
stuff.
And when someone says, well, my family didn't do it, I go, well, so what? it's
Right.
it's okay. So I will diss on myself. When I turned 30, I told my mother, my sister, who was a lot older than me, she was like my real mom, even though she was my sister. I said, I don't learn how to fly an airplane. And they said, well, you're a girl and you're too old. I go, wait a minute. How can a girl be too old? So guess what I did? I bought an airplane.
Oh wow.
And this is the point.
You're invested big time in committing to your goal.
Yes. And they said, well, how did you do that? I go, how do you buy a car? You put so much money down, and once a month you get a bill. And if you don't pay for it, they take it. So it's the same. So it is. So life is an investment, not a cost.
Ooh, that's good. That is so good. Life isn't, that's not a cost.
And your clients that are working with you, you are their investment. If that can change one thing about them, when I get up, people say, well, you don't look like a medical intuitive. I don't know what that looks like. They said, well, you
Yeah.
always have like wild jewelry and clothes that have. I said, because that has been me all my life. I grew up in a very conservative family, and I said, honestly, if I dress like the women in my family, I'd have bored myself to death. And so life is, and actually I have to say this, I've had 5 near-death experiences, but it's great. It taught me a lot. But the fact is, life is an investment. And that's the fun part of it. Is when I get up in the morning, I have Sherryisms, and I say, what I say makes my day, but what I say can make or break somebody else's day. And honestly, I do that every morning, because what are the
Mm.
words that I'm using that can either sabotage me or that can support me myself to do something.
Wow, that's definitely, that's like affirmations. That's like making sure that you, like, I would always say things like, I want to do something that helps someone else today, even if it's a little thing.
Yes,
You know, what can I do to enrich somebody else's life? My husband and I do that from time to time. We say, you know, what can we do, uh, that's something, no matter how, if it's giving someone $1 on the street, what can we do today to enrich someone else's life?
exactly. Because then it enriches your life. It
Yes.
enriches your life. And that's what makes the difference. And people then remember you in such a good way that you become what I call a profile of someone that they feel free to connect to. And that's what you do with your clients. That's what I do with my clients. They can tell me anything and I would never judge them at
Right.
all, because it's their experience. And I always tell them, I can give you this great information. And I always tell them, I don't give you advice because I'm not going to add vice to your life. What I'm going to do is assist you to get to your own truth.
Hmm.
And it
Yeah.
may not necessarily always agree with everyone, but that's okay because it's your life.
And it's your truth. Yeah. It's your
And
life and
it's
your
your
truth.
truth. And it might be different from someone else's. And that's okay. Because that's the part of being the unique person and dressing in your own unique way.
Exactly. Exactly. Respecting everybody. I always say, every people say, oh, I don't have style, or I don't know. Yes, you do. If you know some celebrity, you know somebody that you admire their style. You have a sense of style. You know what you like. You just have to be able to see it on yourself.
Yes. And that's that inner intuitive vision. That's,
Yeah.
I call that the insight, the sight that's inside you from your heart. And when you utilize your insight with yourself, you see a whole new world outside.
Hmm. And you can be beautiful just where you are, just where you
Exactly.
are right now. And you don't have to wait until you lose weight or gain weight or whatever. You can look good and feel good. And and sometimes, you know, we have to push you out of your, like you did with your friend. You have to push your friends or yourself out of your comfort zone and try something new, because you never know where that new you might take you.
Exactly. And we get comfortable with the discomfort of the discomfort zone. And it's not fun. And you know what? We came here to live. We came here, I call it, we came here to life our live, to be the expression of who we are, because who we aren't doesn't make any sense.
Right?
And
Right?
when we say I can't do anything, or then you can't. You just limited yourself by somebody else's belief system without judging them.
Hmm. And it's so, and that's something that's so easy to do. We do it to ourselves
Yes.
all of the time. And even though you've learned not to do it, you still have to go back. Like, I always have to go back and remind myself, I'm not going to die. I can do this. It's not going to kill me. I'm not walking a tight, I'm just doing this one thing. So I always tell myself that, like, why am I holding myself back? I'm not, you know, uh, scaling a skyscraper building or, doing something like that. I mean, I'm just, doing this thing. And so I have to remind myself it's not so scary. I'm not
No.
going to.
Mm-mm. But actually, can I show you something about for this is from a medical intuitive standpoint. I'm going to show you some cells, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
Okay, these were cells taken of a client of mine 9 years ago, and there's some after cells. So her doctor had taken these blood cells, and we call it BS and AS, before Sherry and after Sherry. But
Okay.
this but this is what emotions do to us when we're not being ourselves. So I happen to have these here. These are sick looking blood cells. Aren't those awful? This
Yes.
is all emotional pain, like I'm not good enough, I can't do it, I
Oh,
block myself. And these were blood cells 3 months later. Those are
wow.
perfect blood cells with no medicine, and not wrong in that, or no supplements. But it was the difference when she began to believe in herself. And she was
Mm.
on the full side, and she dressed to hide herself because her mother and grandmother had told her, "You will always be big and you will never be feminine." Now, even though I'm a medical intuitive, but because of the background, I said, you know what? You're going to meet me at the store and you're going to bring me $100 in cash and we're going shopping. And I
Mhm.
said, if I ever catch you, she dressed like a man. And that's not wrong. And we're not talking gender here, but I mean, she wore these big shirts and everything to hide herself. And
Mhm.
she wore these horrible shoes because she's a big gal. And I said, and so I laughingly said, and we're going to shop online and find you some decent shoes because if you wear those shoes again, I'll have to cut your feet off. And you would not believe the transformation
Oh
in
yeah,
her.
I believe it. I've seen it. I've seen the transformation. I see what
Yes.
people I call it to some degree some level of trauma where
Yes,
people after a while they start to hide, and it's easy to hide behind larger clothes because then I don't have to deal with the negative voices that were coming into me. If I don't see it, I had a friend who told me that she hadn't seen her and looked at herself in a mirror in years. And because of all of the negative things, so if she didn't see it, she didn't have to address it.
exactly. And that's
Yeah.
called blind.
Yeah.
It's, and that's what happened with this gal. And she ended up losing 125 pounds. She did not go on a diet. She learned to respect herself
Mm-hmm.
and not
Mm-hmm.
hide anymore. And the
Mm-hmm.
transformation means you transform at your ion cellular level. And her doctor came to see me and he said, and I it was actually then published in a medical journal because it really was all the emotionality that she was still stuck as this little girl. And we're not
Mm-hmm.
wronging her mother or her grandmother, but they said you will never be feminine. You know, you'll always be fat and this way. And it wasn't the truth.
Well, sometimes people, important people in our lives, people that we love, whether it's a spouse or a significant other or a parent, these are very important people in your lives, especially when you're young. And when you hear these negative things, you adopt them. You end up adopting this. And
Yeah,
so you don't want to, that's when sometimes you need a coach. You need somebody. I always say, I love coaching. I love therapists. I love psychiatry. I love all these people who help you get past the pain.
yes,
I'm not ashamed at all. I've gone through counseling because I needed to figure out, not, you have to stop looking at what other people do to you, but then start looking at why you allow those people to do those things to you and pour that negative energy into you. and then you start working
Exactly.
on yourself.
And
I'm just the icing. I'm a wardrobe stylist. A strategist. I'm the icing on the cake, but you have to do the real work inside.
that is absolutely the truth. And so we're not blaming what happened, because blame is the be lame game and it cripples.
Mm,
But if we start in the moment, like when you
mm,
are in the moment of like styling someone, you are in that moment. And that's what I do. I'm in the moment with the person. So we can't change the past. And I say this, we can't change the past. It's
right.
1 second ago, but we can change the future. And it's 1 second from now. And so whatever happened before happened, but we don't have to exist in something that's over. We can live in the moment. And it
Mm-hmm.
makes such a difference. So I call it happy, healthy cells.
Mm-hmm.
And happy, healthy cells make happy, healthy body and productive. And I always, when I'm talking to my clients, maybe you have an idea inside you that could change the world or your world or the world around you that you are holding back on. And that's happened for many of my clients. They wrote a book, or they started a business, or they started doing something else that they never thought that in the thinky that they couldn't do, but now they began to believe in themselves, and it's wonderful.
And it's never too late to you can't say, don't say, you guys, please don't say, oh, I'm too old, it's too late, that time's passed. I'm going to think about the future, but it won't be that thing that I dreamed of doing years ago. It can happen right now,
Yes.
and there's no reason why you can't do it. Go
Nope.
ahead and go for whatever your dreams were.
Because they're unreasonable reasons.
Yes.
And don't do it. And that's the best part. And I'm sure that for you, like me, I just feel so happy when I've assisted someone. I know you feel that way when
Oh
they
yeah.
can stand in front of a mirror and go, wow, this is really me.
Hmm. It's such a high for me too. That's another reason why I love what I do, because when I see my clients just light up and they feel so confident and they feel beautiful and they feel powerful and confident, that's like such a high for me. It
Yes.
makes, that's one of, I would say that's a large part of what I'm earning is just
Yes.
the high from the happiness that
And it
they.
is. And that's very healthy for you and yourself.
Yes, yes,
And
yeah.
it is for me. And that's that connection. When you're supporting someone to be themselves, you're being yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes all the difference in the world. And that's why for me I love to do what I get to do, because I have clients from all professions, physicians and psychologists and nurses and nurse practitioners of all ages and stages, because when we make a connection to ourselves, we actually make a connection outside of ourselves to our patients or our clients or our friends or our family in a different way. Because you're being, and if you'll ask me, Sherry, what's my authentic self? You know who your authentic self is? It's life.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an idea or a birth sign, not against any of that, but or whatever. The authentic self is life, because without life, how can we do anything authentic?
Right. That makes sense.
It
That makes
wouldn't be. And your gift is assisting people to feel and to see, not just look, but to see themselves in eyes that you open. And that's what I like to do, is open people's eyes to themselves.
It's same here. I want people to feel like it doesn't matter what size you are. I want you to embrace yourself. You can look good right now. Why wait? If you are a business owner, if you own a business, or you have an organization, or you have hobbies or passions or careers, and you're starting to achieve things, you don't have to wait because the opportunities and things, you start winning awards and you start asking, you're writing books, and there are things that you're going to have to be in the forefront because you are passionate about what you're doing and you're becoming more and more successful, and you're going to be asked to be in front of people.
Yeah.
So don't wait. You can't wait. You need this now. You need to go ahead and step up your game right now. Don't be afraid. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And you said two things that I work with people. Fear is lack of correct information. That's all it is. It's lack
Mhm.
of correct. And weight is the weight of the weight. And we get weighted down because I'll do it then, or I'll wait till this happens, and I'll wait and wait. So WEIGHT is the heaviness that comes from the WAIT of waiting
Mhm.
around all the time. Really, it is
Yeah,
emotionally and physically and mentally and spiritually and financially, because what's the cost to us to not be ourselves?
right, right. Why not you? Why not now? Why wait? Keep it
Invest.
moving. Invest in yourself and keep it moving.
Yes.
Keep it moving. That's for sure. That's for sure. So this has been great. I need you to tell us how we can get in contact with you.
Great. Okay.
And
Well, go
yeah,
ahead and keep
yeah.
asking.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. I've got I mean, because you've written 6 books and you do a podcast, so we need to know your podcast, when it airs, and how we can get in contact with you.
Okay. So if my website, and actually in a couple more days, I'm going to have a brand new one, but it'll still be the same. It's sherryanshara.com is my website. And by the way, I have a free ebook and you will love it. It's only 17 pages. It's called Getting Your Answers in 10 Minutes. And if
Oh,
people sign up for my newsletter, and if you do sign up, make sure you accept it. Otherwise, it goes into spam and then I get yelled at. But I write 52 articles a year. So every week on Monday, when my newsletter goes out, it's a different newsletter. It's a different article on perspectives instead of perceptions. Because when we have a perspective, we're involved, engaged. And my podcast is called The Quantum Truth. It's out of the box, The Quantum Truth with Sherry and Shara. And it's on EBN, Alliance Broadcast Network, but it's on Spotify. It's on all of them. And I also have a private membership, and it's Patreon, patreon.com/Sherry and Shar. It only starts at $15 a month, and I have 61 videos
oh, wow.
and they're only like 10 minutes or 50 to share with people practical tools, because my two favorite words in any language is practical applications. And that's what you're doing. It's practical applications of showing women or men how to feel better through clothes. And I
Mhm.
teach them how to feel better from the cellular memory. And I've been teaching and writing about cellular memory since 1991, when they thought I was nuts. And then they discovered with the transplants that there is cellular memory. But the memorization of I'm not good enough, I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, I'm too this, the memorizations goof up our healthy memory. So stay out of our heads and into your heart.
Heart and yeah, and follow your passions and your dreams.
Yeah.
And
And
you
I'll give
guys
you my
know,
phone number. And it's
oh,
480. I'm in Arizona on Mountain Standard Time. 480-609-0874. And I'd love to chat with you. And I offer on my website a free 10-minute consultation. It goes with that book. Getting your answers in 10 minutes. You would be amazed at what your body can do in 10 minutes.
and after the show, Sherry is going to put in the comments where you can connect with her as well. She's going to drop her information in the comments. And you guys know where you can find me, Yo at the Style Table. I'm at the Style Table on Facebook, Instagram, um, LinkedIn. I have at thestyletable.com. I also have a free ebook to get your sexy foxy back. You were always that best dressed person and you forgot about it because you've been so busy taking care of everybody else. I'm going to help you get your style groove back. I also have a free style assessment. Please reach out to me and let's see where you'd like to take your style. Also, every Monday, see you next week at 7 p.m. on my for my style Mondays. Okay, we'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.
Hi.